I left for a week, and the ship went to ship.
Sorry. My bad.
See, this is when it would be helpful to have like a track and turf Patreon, because it'd be like, oh, subscribe if you want to hear the bad audio that you didn't get to hear.
Yeah, subscribe if you want a subpar product.
Yeah,
and it's just
behind
me.
the scenes.
Sounds like I'm talking on the phone, and then it's like Matt for some reason, like for some reason, like when over Discord sometimes when you're talking, it's just like constant clicking, and it's like it's fine because like your microphone doesn't pick it up.
Like you're speaking in tongues.
But when like it's also like your audio also does that thing when it's doing that where like where we have issues with your video where it kind of desyncs here and there. Your audio does the same thing is what I found out, which is why I couldn't put that out.
My Discord is so weird. One of the weird things it does is like I will be in a Discord call with my roommate who is, over there, and I can hear her. And I'll hear her start talking, and I won't hear like the first couple seconds of whatever she says, but everybody else will. It's only me. And so like I'll hear like the first half of a sentence, and then it'll come over Discord, and I'm like, did that cut out for anybody else? And they're like, no. Okay.
Maybe you need a new sound card or something.
I don't know. Maybe I do. I need like a dedicated sound card. Yeah.
Maybe delete your System 32 and like reboot too. That might.
Oh yeah, let me do that real quick.
That might help.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else.
Have you guys seen those videos of people who like download like malware and viruses onto like a virtual machine on purpose and just watch how much it messes everything up? I love that. There's some really unique things that happen to a computer when you do that.
When you screw it up?
Yeah.
That's why you don't go to those websites.
Like, I mean, well, yeah. But sometimes I want to download more RAM. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably wish you had more RAM last week, because maybe we wouldn't have lost your audio. I don't know. Anyways.
Good joke.
It wasn't. It was a very bad joke.
Good joke.
Mind you, I got a text for folks behind the scenes. Yeah, we lost the audio, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to call this fool.
I feel like I gave a good explanation.
Oh, yeah, no, it was fine. Like, it is what it is, right? And I just go, hey.
It's going to have to be.
Davey, exactly. I'm just walking around a mall here because I was bored and lonely. And then I heard Lauren say, hi, Joe. And I was like, oh, crap, they're doing something. So I was like, let's just make this call very quick.
By doing something, we're just waiting to go to dinner. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We weren't doing anything.
And that was it. I knew that. I think, wasn't that my question? I'm like, oh, are you guys going to dinner?
We were like,
I'm like, perfect.
After?
I'm perfect, man. I'm too good at this.
Yeah, right. Whatever that means, dude.
Hey, I was, I was going to say at least I didn't call you after 5, but I'm pretty sure I did call you after 5.
Oh, you absolutely did.
My boss called me after 5 on Friday this past week, so I was going to make a joke about that, but
be like that.
It is what it is.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm used to it.
Hey, welcome to Fake Racers Podcast, folks. We won't be talking about sad stuff. Well, maybe if you're on a certain side of the fence.
We'll be talking about a lot of stuff.
We'll be talking about a lot of stuff.
It's going to be sad. It's going to be mad.
As always, I am Mr. Joe.
I'm Davey.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Davey.
And I'm Joe, and this is the Fake Racers Podcast here on Track and
We never let Matt go twice.
One of these days I'll get to say my name twice.
He'll have to say, and I'm Matt. And I'm Matt.
Yeah.
Just sound like a psychopath. But as always, I'd like to encourage you folks at home, if you're watching, if you've gotten to this point, make sure you click the like button on the video, subscribe, follow, do all those things. Turn automatic downloads on your favorite podcast platform. Share the pod, share it with some folks. We got like 1 episode left this year. So,
2.
We have 2 episodes left this year.
Well, because we're gonna do our little recap, and then we gotta do grades.
Yeah.
And then we're off. Then we have vacation time.
Thank God.
It'd be like that, man.
Ryan Blaney, 2 years running now, gets a clutch Martinsville win to advance himself into the Final Four.
Was he freaking out more often yesterday than normal?
What do you mean?
I feel like he was.
Like on the radio?
Yes, because he was like, I don't think he passed the driver without slamming into them.
I think... Okay. I don't think his car was as good as it was last year on the long run. I still think it was the best car on the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he knew that, and in this race, he couldn't waste time. And that's what he felt. Because especially on that last run, he was like, what, 7th or 8th at the start of the run?
Something like that. He was pissed before that even went green, too, because of the way pit stops had worked out.
It's not even the pit stops. It was the losing 2 spots because, which we'll talk about, a tire came off of a car, and NASCAR's like, oh, yeah, you could have lost spots on the restart, even though we saw the wheel rolling down the front stretch. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Blaney, because in his wins this year, when he has a car to win, I feel like he's just kind of turned it up. Like, he's got that killer instinct that I think he lacked his first few years in the Cup Series.
I was joking that he developed his clutch gene last year, and he's kept it. But I was mainly asking the question earlier because I really it really was like, it was almost to the point where I was starting to kind of, not that, well, I mean, what do I matter to Ryan Blaney, right? But I was kind of questioning him. I was like, is this really the Ryan Blaney we have now? Is Ryan Blaney now the guy that's just going to drive through everybody all the time? Because I don't think he passed a single car cleanly on his way to the lead, and it was kind of disappointing in the grand scheme of things in the race. I mean, I like when my drivers know how to pass. Maybe some people don't, but I like it.
Okay.
In the grand scheme of the entire race, it's not the worst thing that happened, obviously. But in that moment, I was like, this is kind of weird. He's behind Brad Keselowski, and he's screaming about Brad Keselowski, and Brad Keselowski has done the crime of checks notes driving. Brad Keselowski wasn't doing anything wrong. He was like, I'm so sick of this guy. I'm like, dude, he's you haven't even been to his bumper. What are we talking about? And it was just weird. Really weird energy.
Okay. So,
okay.
No, you go ahead. You haven't talked
I was going to
yet.
say, to me, that just seemed like, because it was 2 runs in a row that he got to Brad and then just couldn't find a way around him for 60 laps. So I think it was just frustration with what do I have to do to get by this goddamn guy?
Yeah, and maybe we're hearing it more now that people know about it, but it just felt
to me it's
much.
What doesn't matter, I understand.
What does it matter? He's moving everybody out of the way.
Okay, he's moving
and
everybody.
I don't like it.
Okay.
And if anybody else did that and it wasn't Ryan Blaney, I feel like we'd have a problem. If it was Ty Gibbs, we'd be talking about why isn't he mature yet.
I don't think so. Now, if Ryan Blaney was going out there and dumping every other guy like Carson Hocevar was, you know what I mean? I think
we were probably 4 or 5 mile an hour away from that being a reality.
Yeah, sure. And we were 4 or 5 miles an hour away from it being a reality. Guess what? It didn't happen. I don't understand. I'm just saying.
I think it's asinine to not have a problem with it, because I think as a race car driver, you need to learn how to pass, and he didn't pass anybody. He just wrecked everybody. He
passed guys on the outside.
He threw SVG into the corner into William Byron. It was just weird stuff like that.
He passed guys on the outside.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't notice the Blaney aggression as much as you're talking about. Like the SVG thing. Me, it just looked like I'm not gonna say he was calling team orders there, but he made a very clear statement of I'm gonna move down to block you and not block Byron, and then Blaney was like, "Get the hell out of the way, you're a lap."
He was hitting SVG before that too.
I don't remember seeing that. If I'm
he was slamming into him, and SVG was like, "Fine, I'll go to the bottom then, since you're there." And then Ryan Blaney just literally cleaned them both out. I don't know. It's weird. And I feel like if any other driver was doing it, it would be a little bit more notable. And if everything else didn't happen. I don't know. Something to keep an eye on, because it was weird, and it was out of character for Ryan Blaney.
Well, and that's exactly it, too, right? You're saying that it's out of the character for him, but you have a problem with it. You'd have a problem if it was someone else. Well, maybe I would have a problem if it was someone else that does this all the time. Maybe I would have a problem if it was Ty Gibbs and it's Martinsville in the spring and he's doing that. You know what I mean?
I just think Ryan Blaney has a history of temper tantrums, and it's okay, well, this is clearly not getting better.
I don't know if I agree with that. I would say Blaney's one of the more cool-headed guys, if I'm being honest.
What? Have you listened to his radio? What are we talking about?
Everybody screams like that on the radio. We literally talked about this in Discord today.
I refuse to believe that that there isn't a consensus that Ryan Blaney does that more than other people.
Sure, but I don't think that makes him like.
What
I think
makes
that's
it,
a complete.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't really get what you're.
Something
Showing
to look out
emotion.
for, because I know I am right and I was paying attention and I noticed it. I don't care. Something to look out for then.
To sum up what Davey's saying, showing emotions on the radio is bad.
That is a bait response.
I mean, it's what you're saying.
It is not.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Oh, he's throwing temper tantrums. Oh, he's showing emotion. Oh, he's getting angry. Oh, he's
temper
frustrated.
tantrums for no reason, and then going on to to completely plow into everybody to pass them is a little bit different than just yelling on the radio, which is all he had done up to now.
I don't know, man. I don't remember him knocking the hell out of Chase Elliott for the lead at the end. So I know he got rough with Kyle Larson, but he had to go. You know, he was charging from whatever place it was that it was on that last restart. That was the only time I really noticed it. So
it was weird.
So I don't know.
Yeah, he passed Chase clean for the lead. He had to rough everybody up.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, the main example we're talking about is Brad Keselowski, and he never once moved Brad. Like, he yelled about it on the radio, but he never did anything on track.
Great. Anyway, my main example was when he, plowed through SVG and threw him into William Byron, or when he plowed through Denny Hamlin, who hadn't done anything wrong up to that point. Just two things off the immediate top of my head with, 250 laps to go. That was just weird.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what else?
I was going to say, that's not the way I thought we were going to start this show. But
I didn't know you guys were going to be dumb. My bad. God.
And now he resorts to name calling. Controversy in team orders. Let's Have you ever seen a blockade for 25 laps?
Yeah, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, there isn't?
It's fun. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they do it all the time.
Oh. They do?
Mm-hmm. Are we actually going to discuss, or are we just going to do bits for an hour?
They do it all the time.
I would actually like to talk about this.
Ever been to Daytona or Talladega? They do it all the time.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so I guess to summarize for viewers who maybe aren't in the loop, for the final, how many, 30 laps or whatever it was, we were sitting in a position where Christopher Bell, a lap down, was 1 point behind William Byron with the tiebreaker on him. And Byron couldn't afford to lose a spot. Austin Dillon caught him, and I immediately, while watching it, I was like, Austin Dillon's going to play nice here, because I know RCR and Hendrick are tight when it comes to their engine programs and everything. And that stayed true for about 10 laps, and then Ross Chastain came up on him and kind of did the same thing. And I couldn't tell at first if Ross was playing along or just genuinely couldn't make up ground, because I know Trackhouse and Hendrick don't necessarily get along. And then they just kind of blockaded and played blocker for Byron for however many laps that was. And it was pretty obvious. And then in the end, it ended up not mattering because of what happened for Bell in the final corner. But I don't know. How do we want to get into this? Because it's as blatant of race manipulation as there is. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
Blatant's hard, but
yeah,
you know.
Is it hard?
Yeah.
I mean, the radio messages kind of make it clear.
Does the one know the deal? I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty.
That feels pretty easy.
They need to.
What does it feel like?
RCR.
Love to know.
RCR needs to train their spotters a little bit better. I think they need to stop going to the Brett Griffin school of opening your mouth too much. But
God,
I don't know.
That's fine though. They do this all the time. Daytona Talladega. This is fine. Normal. Totally cool.
What about the
Nothing to see
23?
here. I'm still not 100% sure if there was anything wrong with that car or not.
Yeah.
There's video footage. The more video footage I see of it, the more I'm kind of like, maybe there was something wrong with it. Because it did look like it was driving like doo-doo, and you can't really make the next gen drive the way that it looked like it was driving like doo-doo. Because like it did look like he would go into the corner. Maybe if you put like 100% rear brake into it and then was just mashing the brakes into the corner, it would look like that. But other than that, like it did look a little awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. It also like doesn't look good. You know, like
Right.
it makes it look even worse for the Toyota camp. But like I do think there might be a thing there for Bubba. Like like it did look like it.
The thing that doesn't help his case, and like you're saying, like the more and more I see, like, yeah, maybe they did genuinely have a mechanical issue, or maybe they just played a really long con, because, again, to summarize things for the viewers, Bubba Wallace fell off a cliff in the final 10 laps, and just so conveniently got caught by Christopher Bell in the final corner, which gave him the spot he needed for the final 4. And he was saying that he thought he had a tire down, but before that he was asking, what do I need to do to help the 20? You know? And so that kind of clouds the whole thing. It's not impossible for both things to be true. Maybe they had an issue and he decided, let's milk it a little bit. But you never know. So, but
that seems like the most likely to me, is that they did have something in there just like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah. This whole thing, though, is just a mess. It really is like 2013 Richmond all over again. It seems like, minus the intentional of, spin out and bringing out of a caution. But like, it's, I don't know, man. It's just hard for me to put into words like how much of a mess, because I'm not really emotionally invested in either of these drivers that are involved in it. I'm more just kind of watching it as a gawker at this point. Like, this is absurd and it's just kind of fun to watch play out. But I would be genuinely surprised if we don't see penalties come midweek for the 24 1 and 3 teams. Like, I don't know how, as NASCAR, you can sit there and let all of these teams conspire to do this, and when you have dropped the hammer for stuff like this before, and let this result stand, especially when all the radio transmissions make it clear as day what was going on.
Yeah, and I know I was like clouding up my joke about it happening all the time by being right about Ryan Blaney. I apologize. But I'm just
yeah, you're fine.
Anyway, but like the Chevy stuff, as far as like saying it, I mean, it does, like the OEM, the manufacturer camps have ruined super speedway racing, and it does not surprise me at all that there were people in the bow tie camp telling the bow ties to not pass the other bow tie. I like you, Matt. As soon as I saw that it was Austin Dillon lined up behind William Byron, I was like, okay, well, that's that. There's absolutely no way he's not going to make a move to pass him. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was just, everyone could see it coming. And if that doesn't happen, none of the other things that happened happen. Like without the Chevys playing blocker and behind a very slow William Byron, we do not have the rest of these events. And that's very unfortunate, in my opinion, for Christopher Bell, who, was probably on his way to pretty easy playoff berth if there was just, maybe a little less emphasis on manufacturer nonsense. I don't know what I don't know what you do about that. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you de-incentivize it. I don't know how you get that to stop happening, because you can't, because the manufacturers have been held up as the most important thing in NASCAR, and so now they're just here looking down on everybody, making all these key decisions and doing these things that ruin these races, and no one has any incentive to do anything different, and it sucks.
It's Pandora's box. There's really nothing you can do about it now that it's out there.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is penalize it when it happens, is drop the hammer, and if you're going to do this, you better be sneakier about it.
And the question becomes, do you penalize the teams, or do you is there a way to penalize the manufacturer? Because if the teams are being told to do this at the behest of the manufacturer can withhold support if they don't agree to go along with it. So there's a level of, are you I don't know the correct terminology, but are you being coerced into doing this for the promise of additional benefits, right? 'Cause you have to think, if I'm the 3, if I'm the 1, I have to be told there has to be a reason why I'm letting the 24 stay ahead of me, because there's still monetary gain there to finish one spot better.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. So it's frustrating, like Davey said, that the manufacturers have been held in this high esteem. Of course, they're critical to the sport, but should they be this critical? Probably not. If the goal is parity, someone could argue they shouldn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's frustrating. The thing with Bubba and Bell, I don't know, that one. If he has a tire going down, why doesn't he pit? Oh wait, because it's the end of the race, and
if
theory,
he pits, it looks obvious.
It looks even worse, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought too.
So,
what do you do?
Yeah,
there's no way to overcome.
Not to mention, you can also say that they're trying to salvage a better finish by not pitting.
Exactly.
They'll probably give up more track position by coming in.
Christopher Bell did the half wall ride thing. Are we good with his penalty? Are we not good with his penalty?
It's weak. I'm not going to say I'm not good with it, but it is very, 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 very weak.
It's very borderline. I lean towards the side that should penalize him for it, mostly just because, like, when you make a rule like they did post Martinsville 2022, like, it's not you can't do this to gain an advantage. They're like, don't stick into the wall and go full throttle. Like, just don't. And I feel like, if you kind of set it up without gray area, you have to enforce it. Did he do it? Did it gain him anything in the end? No, not really. So that's where where the gray area comes in, and like where you stand, Davey, mostly. But for me, I don't know if that penalty stands on its own if we don't have all of the shenanigans going on, because it almost seemed like
it was the easy call.
Okay, we need to do something about this before we go off air or before we end tonight, because NASCAR can't review all of the radio stuff at the track. That's going to take days to do. They can't do that 20 minutes post-race and have their decision made up. Precedent shows Spingate 2013 Richmond, those penalties didn't drop till like Wednesday, I think. Mm-hmm. So it kind of seemed like fan service almost.
Yeah. And I think that's just about all it was, because I really think it's no different than any other NASCAR penalty that's a judgment like that. I mean, riding the wall is going to become the new don't lock bumpers in the Xfinity and Truck Series rule, because it's just going to be enforced when it's suddenly sort of almost relevant, and it's like a certain situation. And I understand why there's a rule. The reason that I kind of lean that it's weak personally is because the spirit of the rule is to not have it so 15 drivers go to the wall and turn right on corner entry and ride around that bitch at 4 Gs and get head injuries, but they broke the lap record, and stuff. And Christopher Bell was a second slower than every other car on track. He lost track position. He lost excuse me, he lost speed going into that corner. He made a mistake in the first place. It just is totally not within the spirit of the rule that he broke it. But like you said, they got to do something. So they can't just not levy anything right now, because it's just going to look bad. And so they had to do something, and it's oh, this is the easy thing we can get them on. Let's just apply this here. And they did it, and I don't know. Gross feeling left in my mouth after hearing that penalty. Yeah. Not necessarily because it's wrong, but just because it's there's so much more context to that situation than just you rode the wall, that's bad. There's just too much more. I don't know. Gross feeling. Gross.
A perfect metaphor for NASCAR, or in my mind, for NASCAR choosing to penalize them for that is and Joe, you remember this, the Miami Dolphins got found to A, be tampering to try to get Tom Brady to come to town, and B, were basically incentivizing Brian Flores to lose games intentionally for better draft picks. And they don't have any rules about tanking, but they do have rules about tampering, but everybody tampers, so they dropped the hammer on them for tampering, because the thing they were more mad about was do not pay your coach to intentionally lose games. That's ridiculous. And that's kind of what it seemed like to me. We're like, we can't prove that Bubba Wallace, like, conspired to help you, but we can prove that you wall rode, so we're going to drop the hammer on you for that.
Oh, and again, it was the easy decision in the moment for them to make too. I know there's a lot. Oh, it took us a long time to figure it out. We reviewed all the footage. We reviewed blah 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 blah. They probably made up their mind in 5 minutes, and they were just writing up the penalty report.
Yeah.
Probably holding their head like this, like, oh my god, this is gonna be the worst week of my life.
What did the penalty end
so.
up being? By the way,
it's a safety violation.
Well, so like, what did they do? Did they dock him a lap?
What actual
or...
penalty was levied?
Oh, they put him back behind Bubba, I think. I think that's all they did.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
Pretty sure it was like...
Which is stupid because he rode the wall after he was already ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to
maybe
find...
they DQ'd him, maybe they took a lap away. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Because he got to, I think, 8... I think he got to 18th was, I think, the position.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And then I'm reading the read-up right now, and I can't figure out what the penalty was.
At the end of the day, it was a safety violation, and when it's a safety violation, you can't appeal. And I think that's more so the smoking gun towards this whole thing just being to cover the asses collectively of the officiating. It's nice when you have a rule book that has very broad rules that you can just apply as you want to.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I just found it. They put him at the end of the lap that, like,
The lap
basically
that
a
he's on.
one-lap penalty, essentially.
Yeah.
So he lost 4 spots because of that.
So.
So.
Yep.
That is unreal.
But again, really funny roundabout thing, because everybody's like, oh, the Chevys working together and the Toyotas work together. We're not in this position if Ryan Blaney doesn't push Joey Logano at the end of Las Vegas and Christopher Bell wins his way in. So, Ford, you're not off the hook either. So...
That's a good point, actually. I kind of forgot about that.
And none of this matters if the goddamn 48 team just puts the ballast in the car.
yeah, pretty much.
So this is Alex Bowman's
Still
fault.
mad. Yeah.
Yes, it's
All of this is Alex Bowman's fault. Going back to
Bowman's
2004, when the new format was introduced, I choose to blame Alex Bowman.
Yeah. When
He
Chris
took Auto
Buescher
Club away
wrecked
from us.
Dale Jr. and gave him a concussion and got Alex Bowman in the car, it's your fault, Buescher.
Oh my god, dude.
All of this saved NASCAR from a different fiasco that happened with about 90 laps to go, I believe, where Kyle Busch lost his right front tire or wheel as they're coming back to go green, and NASCAR decided to throw the green flag, allow teams to make up positions, and then threw the yellow flag almost immediately. Yes. And
What a mess.
what a mess. What a
The
mess.
best part, too, is Steve Letarte, or it was either Letarte or Burton, calls it out, like, as the cars are in turn 3. He's like, there's a tire rolling on the track, and they're like, we need to... They need to call this...
going green here, and
Yeah,
then they go green.
Yeah. And then they just did, and it cost William Byron the lead. That didn't have any effect at the end of the race.
It cost Blaney 2 spots, so it probably
Yeah.
pissed him off. It did piss him off. To Davey's point, there were some pretty funny Ryan Blaney comments.
Of course, it was Kyle Busch, too, because that's just the kind of year that he's had.
He's going to win at Phoenix, though, watch. He's going to pull one out of his ass.
Oh my god, dude.
So, yeah, I don't know. This race was so good in the grand scheme of things. This was probably one of the best short track races.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably the...
It was the best Martinsville.
Bristol. Yeah, the best Martinsville race
next gen race
so far. It was super compelling, and then there's just nonsense like this or the end that is just too much.
I love Jeff Burton at the end of the broadcast. What a damn shame. He said that on the air, that this is what's people are gonna remember about this race, because he's like, it was excellent, or it was, like.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of what am I looking for here? There's a lot of like bearish thinking about the outlook of the playoffs and the future of NASCAR, and I don't disagree with them, but man, what a damning season we have had in regards to the playoffs, where we are in a situation where, like, earlier in the season, Harrison Burton won and propelled him from the 30th to like 14th in
16th.
points or whatever, 16th in
Yeah.
points, and all the other, like Joey Logano winning to make his way into the
Austin
Final Four. Not that it's
Dillon.
not warranted. I understand that he just has to win to do these things. Austin Dillon wrecking 2 people in a lap to get into the playoffs and then getting sent back
corners.
out.
Chase
So
Briscoe
now
at
here we
Darlington.
are.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe at Darlington, even though that kind of rocked, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But now we're here at the Final Four, and of the final 8 drivers, I feel like the Final 4 and the eliminated 4 could be completely swapped, and it would be a totally different outlook on the Final 4.
Yeah.
I feel like the other Final 4, maybe save for I don't know, late stage Denny Hamlin. Wait, I hold on. There's too many 4s. I'm saying too many 4s. I just feel like you could swap them, and it would be like, oh, the Final 4 now is actually like really perfect, and the eliminated Final 4, that kind of makes sense.
So, in my opinion, Larson and Bell are the 2 that probably, if we're going to talk about deserving to make it, those are the 2 that are out that deserve to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't. Obviously, Joey Logano's the one that's like, it's easy to throw him out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have talked about like Ryan Blaney, like, okay, he's kind of had a he's top 8 or something.
Yeah, he's been fine.
Right?
Yeah.
The other guy in there that I would think if they're going to be out, William Byron. He's had an okay playoffs, but again, he hasn't won since like April or something.
And he had an
like that.
abysmal run into the playoffs as well.
So, yeah, it's a very lackluster Final Four too,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
mean,
a lot of
even-
stories, but
I mean, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate that I truly think the 4 best drivers of this season, like looking at it as a whole, were exactly the 4 that got eliminated
yeah,
this week.
yeah.
Yeah, and outside of like his recent kind of skid, like Tyler Reddick has been one of those top 4 guys, but like
Yeah.
like you said, Chase Elliott's been rock solid. Like the first half of the season was Larson versus Blaney, or Larson versus Hamlin every week, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is kind of wild that it all played out this way. God, what was I just about to say? Can't remember now.
Team Penske just turns it on in the playoffs for whatever reason.
Yeah.
hate it
I have
so
I have a
much.
feeling they
Understand
take
it.
I have a feeling they take some of their IndyCar support staff and move them over to the NASCAR side. Would not
That
be
makes sense.
surprised if that is actually something that happens.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It's all just engineering. It's all the same, right?
Well, no, but in terms of like
But it's like the same,
sim hours and stuff and
Yeah, it's like exactly the same, right?
setting stuff up, yeah, it's exactly the same, Davey.
I knew it.
Um,
Why did you just say that?
I should have. I'm sorry.
few good runs to point out also that I was noticing. Like obviously they're caught up in the controversy of it all, but Austin Dillon P7, like pretty awesome for them. Shane Van Gisbergen 12th. Where did that come from?
My boy.
All 4 Stuart Haas cars in the top 15 or top 16 was pretty
Well,
cool.
I'm pretty sure it had goddamn top 10. Ran
He was
top
up
10
there
all day.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to him last week accidentally being announced as the new RFK driver.
Whoop.
Thanks, Brad Moran. Thanks, NASCAR officials.
And also because we kind of touched on it earlier, Carson Hocevar ran into just about everybody in this race. So
Yeah,
that's
certainly
fun.
did.
And like Jeff Burton teed off on him.
Oh, he
after
did.
spun
That
out
was
Todd
awesome.
Gilliland. That was like,
I love Jeff
and
Burton.
I was watching that. And I was like, this is not undeserved, but goddamn.
Dude, I was
It was
watching
out of
I
the
think
blue.
I think we kind of
Yeah.
commented on Discord a little bit about it. I was like, he's not wrong, but like this feels deeply I feel like I shouldn't be listening to this.
I feel
this
like
is
he's
deeply personal.
He's been thinking
Yeah.
about this for like months on end.
Yeah, dude,
And it was
he
about
had
about the 4th time he and Gilliland ran into each other that he was like, I can't not say something.
But didn't Hocevar run over Harrison at Nashville to like start the whole?
I really think that's what.
yeah, he
kind
spun
of-
him under yellow, I think,
Yeah.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure Jeff isn't a big Carson Hocevar guy.
Carson, I love you. Tighten it up, man. Come
That
on.
was bad.
Get it together.
But yeah, best Martinsville next gen race. I think we're all in agreement
Yeah.
there. It just sucks that the last 20 or so laps had whatever happened happen. And we'll find out more
Yeah.
about that this week.
Well, surely that
can't
was
wait.
the only eventful race this week, right? Like, the
Oh,
other
no.
two, we're
No.
not going to...
No.
Wait, what?
Eric Almirola went out and
What?
dominated the Xfinity race. I didn't watch it, but I did see Chandler bitch slap Cole Custer.
Okay, I want to tell... That is one of the
Shout-outs-
lamest punches I've ever seen, because
That wasn't a
hits him with, like...
punch. It's
Well,
not a
he
punch.
okay.
Was
It was a-
laughing.
It was a
I
slap,
know!
but he closed his hand, so he hit him with, like, the side... He was like, "Ugh." Like...
He probably made that noise too.
Yeah, well, he swings at him, and then he immediately backs up 3 steps, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, Cole Custer's a big boy, like... I don't want none of that smoke
I
either.
thought I was the only
I think-
one to
But-
notice that he was like,
Hey, he's like, all right, I got my hit in. Now I'm gonna run away like a little baby.
and
There's more of that
Custer
coming
was-
for you.
Cole Custer turned around to his crew and was like laughing with them. It was
Yeah.
good
Just-
stuff.
Pure disrespect.
I love Cole Custer.
He's
a lot of
grown on
people
Cole
me.
give
Custer has made me
Cole
a
Custer
fan.
a lot of crap, dude. Same. I
He's
kind
made
of
me a fan.
already liked him a little bit.
He's
But-
he's got personality, you know.
Yeah.
I think
does have a little
he's
bit of
gonna
aura.
shine as the single Haas factory team driver in the Cup Series next year.
Yeah, and if he can win a race in like some spectacular fashion again, and he does his Stone Cold
Oh my god.
celebration,
Oh my
I
God.
think he's gonna be a superstar, low key,
Oh,
So good.
yeah.
low key.
Wins the
Just saying.
Daytona 500. Watch him go out win the Daytona 500.
Dude,
Yeah.
winning the Daytona 500 and then doing a Stone Cold stunner on the front stretch under the flag stand could
Oh my
actually
God.
save lives. I'm just saying.
NASCAR ratings up.
Should mention what they were mad about was Chandler knocked him out of the way to get to second towards the end of the race because Chandler Smith was in a must-win situation.
So Cole knocked him
And then on
back
the
out of
ensuing
way.
restart, Cole intentionally picked the spot behind him so he could knock the hell out of him and get back at him. Which, like, it was a little petty. I didn't think what Chandler did was, like, that worthy of payback, but these two have had beef in the last month anyway, so Cole was
Yeah.
I
probably
think
like, I am so
it's a
sick of this guy.
culmination of everything. Right?
Yeah.
Plus, it was
So.
late enough in the race where, like, I kind of get it. Like,
Yeah.
we're coming down to it now, so I totally get like wanting to get one back over before the end of it.
Yeah. So, it was...
Yeah.
I don't want to go in too
That's
deep
funny.
on Chandler Smith, but just more weird.
Where is he going to
Yeah.
race next year? Nobody knows. A lot of people
Nobody
think he's not
knows.
going to be racing.
Yeah,
It'd be weird.
Real estate or something, maybe. I don't know. I think
construction.
He's like 21 or 22, and he has multiple kids, and he's married. So think about
Yeah,
that.
he can stay busy. He'll be alright.
He'll be fine. Eric Almirola won. Congratulations. He won again.
20
trying to
Xfinity
think of
car
anything else.
just kind of be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our Xfinity Final Four set, though.
Yep.
Custer and Allgaier locked themselves in.
On points.
So.
And then AJ and Austin Hill won last week
Yeah.
at Homestead.
Yep.
And if you only listen to the Fake Racers podcast, you wouldn't have known that because there was no episode last week.
Didn't exist.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We talked about it. We really did. I promise. It's just
Christian Eckes
Oh,
and Taylor Gray.
Oh, boy.
It's a big what is
Also-
fair and what's not fair. Taylor Gray was in a must-win past Eckes clean. Eckes just immediately moved him back out of the way.
whack.
Dude.
That felt like
Okay.
a race where Christian Eckes was not going to lose. That was like a Dynaco is all mine moment.
That is such a good way to describe it. Oh, my God.
Shout out to Taylor Gray for like going on the longest walk to victory lane I've
Yeah.
ever seen because he had to go find the stairs to get over the wall instead of just hopping over the wall. It would have been quicker
on,
if he
bro.
just hopped over the wall. And
Yeah, but the photos from it, hard.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
hey,
I kind
they,
of
So-
rock with it.
they yelled at each
Starting-
other. Eckes was like, "Whatever, dude," and then he walked off. It was great.
Yeah, starting with the post-race stuff first. Big fan of how Taylor Gray composed himself. I know he doesn't have, like... I don't know if he's ever done anything other than the holding his phone up while he was driving at Daytona thing, but I know people don't really care for Taylor Gray that much. But that was... not classy, not the right term, but that was the way to do it, you know? Because, like, when he was going over there and the official was talking to him, he was like, I'm not going to fight him. I'm just going to talk to him. And Christian Eckes gave just about the worst goddamn response you could give when he was confronted about that. Like, it's like a masterclass in how to misplay your cards. because, again, summarizing things for the listeners, Eckes absolutely dominated. He's locked in, or not locked in, essentially locked in, right? Taylor Gray has to win. Gray puts an awesome move around the outside of him to get the lead, and then Christian Eckes just knocks the shit out of him into the next corner and costs him like 5 spots. And then when confronted about it, was just like, yeah, and? Like, he literally apologized for doing it to Ben Rhodes, like, oh, I did it on accident, but not to Taylor Gray. He had an out, and he didn't use it. And that's the kind of thing that's not going to get you very far in racing, you know? Because there's this level of arrogance to it where it's like I deserve to win because I've had the best car all day, right? And Taylor Gray races you clean, and that's how you race him back. And it's not only stupid just in the sense of like the championship, but just your entire career, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you go out there and you say that, like, you know, Taylor straight up says, I could have done that to you and I didn't. And Eckes' response is to say, well, maybe you should have. And it's like, okay, then nobody's ever going to race you clean for the rest of your career, Christian, because you just gave the entire field blanket permission to do that to you whenever they want, right? And, you know, you're racing for a championship next week. Taylor Gray isn't, and you just painted a big-ass target on your back bumper. So good luck with that, dude.
Yeah.
It's just insane. It's so arrogant. So
not the way you would expect anyone to handle something like that. Just like openly being like, yeah, go ahead, just hit me all the time. Okay, dude. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Weird.
You know, like I was using Ross Chastain as an example when we were talking about this. Like, Ross doesn't go out there and say like, well, you better start hitting me back. Like, no. Ross dished it out. He got it dished back to him, and he was like, yeah, fair game. You know? So if Christian Eckes ends up in the fence next week, I expect nothing other than that kind of response.
Yeah, that's the problem. NASCAR likes to protect their championship 4 guys.
Well, they better start protecting themselves. You know?
That's a good clip. Good clip right there.
So and like, I'm coming from the perspective too, like, I like Christian Eckes. I've rooted for him a lot this year, but he's been like, that was just like peak punk ass behavior at the end of this race. So I can't believe I'm here rooting for Taylor Gray next week.
I'm saying. I am saying.
All right, well, let's go ahead and go from the shop. First day of the injunction hearing for 2311 and Front Row against NASCAR and their antitrust lawsuit concluded. Judge will deliberate and give a verdict before the end of the week. There are 2 claims to this. One, 2311 wants to be granted a charter but not have to sign the charter agreement that says that they can't sue NASCAR. That's the first injunction. The other case for the injunction is that they would run as an open team, but they're still allowed to sue NASCAR because part of running as an open team, you also are not allowed to sue NASCAR. Crazy how that works. Deliberation.
Is that? I feel like that's not. I feel like you can't hold that up in court, though. Right? Like, it's like the thing where, you know how every single piece of software has a map. Yeah, but like how every single piece of software has a giant end user license agreement that nobody reads, but they all agree to. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Apple got taken to court over something that was like slipped into their agreement or whatever, and the courts were like, yeah, you can't just enforce whatever you want because people agree to it. Like, you still have to agree to the law. And I feel like forcing people to basically sign a "we won't sue you" agreement will not hold up in court if you try to sue them.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting what happens there.
So dumb.
2311 Front Row, their argument is that this will cause them irreparable harm. NASCAR's lawyer's argument is, well, run as an open team, and if you win the lawsuit, we'll owe you damages that will amount in the money that you lost for not being a chartered team, which is a weird thing to say, in my opinion.
Well, I was going to say, big shout out also to, there is the statement that said, like, oh, you don't have to own a NASCAR team. You can go own an NBA team or whatever. And it was like, well, Michael Jordan did. And he sold it so he could get into NASCAR. So, do you want him to go do that? Would you rather him own the Hornets?
I don't think the NBA wants him back, honestly.
No.
But, there's also you bought into this team knowing that, this was how things were. Don't know how that affects front row. The other argument was, well, these guys, you signed the first charter agreement, so why wouldn't you sign the second one? Well.
You see, NASCAR, things change, so.
Yeah, exactly. Another little nugget that came out of this was Tyler Reddick's contract includes a clause that he has to be in a chartered car. So.
Oh, God.
Was it that he has to be in a chartered car, or that he is free to leave if he is not in a chartered car?
If he's free to leave if he is not in a chartered car.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, Tyler Reddick just shipped out, like.
Well, yeah.
But likely, I mean, yeah, no, I hear you though.
I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
But then again, Hendrick Motorsports could just drop a fat check on his desk and. What loyalty does Tyler Reddick have?
We're starting Hendrick Motorsports too.
Yeah, right. 4 new charters just became available.
Yeah, it's the damnedest thing. Who could have seen that coming?
It's crazy. Justin Haley. I mean, just go to Spire, right? Just a 4th Spire car.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Motorsports too.
Hendrick Motorsports. I'm not. Listen,
they're gonna have 7 cars next year. They have 7 cars next year.
NASCAR's gonna have 3.
Herbst in the JRM Cup car at this point.
Woof.
He's like, I'm not giving you all that money, Rick.
It's like, we already can't afford painted side skirts. I'm not paying that much.
A little too rich for me.
Yep.
Any thoughts? Are we just whatever at this point? Whatever happens, happens.
Just keep watching the news, man. It's gonna be a long process.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Bubba Wallace will have a new crew chief next year. Charles Denicky.
Sad for Booty, but I think it was about time.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've really dropped off as the year's gone on too.
Yeah.
So.
And Tom Cruise is considering a sequel to Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I just saw that in there. I thought it was worth putting in there. So.
That's fun. That's fun.
Do you think it's going to be a courtroom musical?
It's gotta be. It's a legal drama.
Just make suits, but NASCAR.
Cole Trickle Motorsports is upset about the new charter agreement.
What if it's a Marvel tie-in and Daredevil's the lawyer? I'm just saying. There's options here.
Oh God. Also, there was something that we totally forgot to talk about last week, which was oh God, now I'm drawing a blank on his name.
There wasn't an episode last week. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, we didn't talk about it because there wasn't an episode, but Connor Jones wrecking the shit out of Matt Mills and then getting suspended for a race.
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, he literally sent Matt Mills to the hospital. So
and then sent out a PR statement that did not look genuine or read genuine at all.
Yeah, people put it into one of those AI detectors, and they were like, "Yeah, this is like 98% chance that it was ChatGPT generated." So, again, can't really prove it, but still, it's funny.
It's just funny. Well, it's not funny because Matt Mills was in the hospital for carbon monoxide poisoning, but it's funny that Connor Jones probably should not have a Truck Series ride next year.
That's funny.
I'm glad that the Truck Series officials are finally doing something. So
about time.
There's been the standard of driving in that series has been way too low for way too long. So
honestly, they like the Truck Series going into like a actually real part of this. I think the Truck Series should start to adopt more local series-esque rules where like if you wreck someone, you're to the rear. If you wreck someone, you're DQ'd or stuff like that. Like they need to adopt a little bit more of that just for that series. I think just because it is what that series is. It is a learning series. It is the closest thing to like NASCAR regional series. It's the first step. Keep a couple of those rules coming along just to kind of set some drivers straight, and then
Well, Davey, the first step's ARCA, silly. But ARCA was a competitor to NASCAR.
Yeah, it's also the first step, but it's also not. It's its own thing.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
get
its
those
own
confused.
thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, I
really hate this episode a lot.
Davey, what was your bomb split moment of the week?
You guys not seeing Ryan Blaney plow through everybody because I pulled up his in-car live onboard and I just watched him plow through like 4 people.
Cool. Matt, what was your bottom split moment of the week?
My bottom split moment is my fucking car is breaking down again, and I'm not happy about it. It's been doing this thing where it keeps going into limp mode, and then the check engine light finally came on, and I took it to O'Reilly, and they were like, oh yeah, it's a bad high-pressure fuel sensor, and I was like, okay, and I replaced it, and it didn't fix it. And I think it's just like, I think I've got like a bad fuel filter or fuel pump, because it's like, it feels like it's starved of fuel. But
did you clear the codes?
I don't know how to do that.
Oh.
So I've driven for like 3 hours, and it hasn't reset yet, so.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it to a mechanic tomorrow, but I am upset.
Joe, bottom split.
My bottom split moment this week goes out to... I didn't really have one this week.
He's trying so hard to not say my name for losing the audio.
It was... No, I'm not actually. That was not going to be my bottom split. That would just... I've already been too mean about that on this episode. My bottom split moment this week was Penn State being up 10-0 and losing to Ohio State. Yeah, can't do that, idiots.
Can't be doing that.
Can't be doing that. My Road to Pro moment this week, though, for you Saturday Night Live enjoyers, our queen released a new song, so I was very happy about that. And it was a bop.
The picture of her standing next to John Mulaney, like for their like press pictures, is so funny.
Oh my god, it's amazing. I love Chaperone.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it as a straight man.
Hell yeah. That's so brave.
No,
of you.
we are not allowed to. We do not relate 100% to all of the music, so we are not allowed to listen to it.
Yeah.
Shared experience is bad.
But she gets the job done.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know.
Anyways, Matt, what was your Road to Pro moment of the week?
My Road to Pro moment actually comes with a little bit of background music. And don't worry, Joe. It's not going to get found on the copyright strike system, and you're about to find out why. The most mysterious song on the internet was finally found.
Yeah!
For those of you who don't know, somebody in 2019 posted a clip of the song that's currently playing on my soundboard, and nobody's been able to identify it. Okay, here it comes. Somebody found a goddamn German news press clipping of it's a song called Subways of Your Mind by a band called Eckes, and so we finally confirmed who made it. So
I love that we're bringing a little bit of that old internet history onto this show.
Yeah.
Good
to
stuff.
go along with the lost media arc of the show right now. So
One day I will come across. One day we will find the real recording of that. It doesn't exist, but we'll find it one day.
yeah. We'll recreate it.
I'll like hack into my Alexa and like find the secret audio recording clip it made of that day and just cut it out.
We'll call the NSA. We're like, we know you guys were listening. What did you guys think of last week's episode?
Yeah, that
Also, can you send it to us?
transcript?
Yeah. We'll do a dramatic retelling of it.
We'll re-record the episode, but we'll like Matt and I will switch roles. So I'll play Matt, and you'll play Matt. You'll play me.
I'm down for that. Anyway, what was your Road to Pro moment?
Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Let me tell you. Okay, so do you guys have like what's like the worst team in the NFL? What's the worst team in football?
Right now is the New Orleans Saints.
Have they won anything yet?
They've won. They won the first two games, and then they lost 7 in a row this season. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's awesome. So that's perfect, right? Okay, so look. Here's what happened in the span of a week. The first game that Tottenham Hotspur played this week was actually like last week. It was last weekend. It was against Crystal Palace, the worst team in the league. They have not won a single game all season. Until they played us, and they beat us 1-0. And then we have a midweek game against Manchester City. Manchester City, the best team in the world, the best team in Europe, the best team in the world. We beat them 2-1. Aston Villa, another one of the top-tier teams in Europe. They're in the Champions League. They're like well-established in like European clubs. Like they're probably in like the top 10 European teams right now. We beat them 4-1. This weekend.
Oh my god.
Right after giving a Premier League team their first win of their whole entire season in late October. So Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. It's never boring.
Well, it's like the 2011 Green Bay Packers were undefeated except they lost to like the 4-12 Chiefs with an interim head coach.
I love stuff like that. I love sports that doesn't make sense. It's good stuff.
Some goofy ass shit happens.
Well, folks,
Oh my goodness gracious.
that's this week's episode of the Fake Racers podcast. Make sure if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. This week over on JTN, we've got the Fuel Grand National Series Wednesday night at 9, and then the Hobo Racing Outlaw Series on Thursday at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Davey, what's going on in the USRL?
Well, in the USRL, Thursday, we have Chicago Street. Have fun watching that one. Maybe just stick to JTN. No, but we're at Chicago Street on Thursday. I updated my drivers. I think my drivers were not updated, and that's why I was unable to stream anything. But I've updated my drivers, so I should be able to stream the new Wednesday night series that I've been doing. I'm 5th in points after 2 races.
Oh, yeah.
We love that. That's really all for me. D7H5 are on Twitch. That's a D7H5 with an ER at the end. Catch me Wednesday night for VRL from Dover. Yeah.
Sick.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Oofsides tomorrow. Speaking of the Saints, I'm gonna be doing a special Matt's midseason power rankings. Where did the Saints fall on that? Hint: it's last.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where is last week's episode of Oofsides on Spotify?
Did the audio version not go up? Hang on. I've been having problems with the RSS feed.
This is a
They've,
great
like,
time to ask Matt
been
that
publishing.
question too. By the way,
I was gonna say this is a fantastic time. I can't think of a better time
Did it not?
because it's not like you guys have DMs or anything, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I
They're
did
published.
message him about the show not being up, and then I was like looking
Yeah.
for it this past week, and on that long.
I've been
hour,
having problems with the website that I use
it's
for the
okay.
RSS feed. Hang on, I'm checking the Spotify feed right now.
That's okay. This is
how
important
do
for
you-
the folks at home.
I don't know how to view what's new on desktop. I'm gonna go on my
That's
phone.
okay.
Hang on.
That's okay. Hey, it's okay. Let's wrap this baby up. Let's
Wrap it up, baby.
Let's wrap it up,
Come
baby.
on now.
Put it in a nice bow.
Send
Polka
it.
dots and all. Let's wrap
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it
up.
published both of
Yeah.
them 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
One after the other. Okay,
Well.
that's a problem. Well, they're both up. You can go listen to the last 2 episodes. This week's will actually be on time. It'll be
I
a good
suck.
time.
That's what that means,
So.
folks.
Yeah,
Wow.
basically. So
Yeah. Wait, can you say
see,
that? Can you say that?
You guys can be mad about me for saying mean stuff about Ryan Blaney, but at least I'm nice to you guys. What the
Matt, can you say that I suck?
no, because you're gonna clip that. So
Oh, damn it.
I know better.
Folks, again, can't thank you enough for watching, for listening. However you support us here on the Fake Racers podcast. 2 to go this time by. We'll see you guys next week after the championships.
that was good.
Goodbye.